Hello, Pisces. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Star Spinner Tarot. And the name is right in front of me. I just by Trungles. Duh. I knew it was there. I knew it was there. By Trungles. There's how you spell it. And there is a website somewhere. Chronicle Books. Yeah, Chronicle Books. Here it is on the back. Would you believe I thought I knew where it was before I started the camera? Well, there's that one. Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Raish Baskin. Baskin? Baskin. A few websites on the back. ToriHartman.com, WatkinsPublishing.com, I believe. If I can get a little closer, yeah. Feel free to freeze frame and check those out if you so desire. If you so desire. Okay, I did have a little bit of coffee, so I might be zippy myself. Usually it's the cat, but he's chill at the moment. So if the cat's not going to be cuckoo pants, I guess it's my turn. So there you go. All right. What do we have for Pisces? Oh, that is good. Okay. It seems like when I'm feeling, there's only so much you can do with certain things. I feel like I want to make sure I say this correctly. Sometimes people around you have issues, and you might over-empathize with certain people. Be careful of that. There's this need to help somebody and fix something. And just, it's almost like I just want them to know that I hear them. Something like that. But even then, you have to be careful about giving your energy away in a way that is destructive to you. Somebody's got some really negative energy around you is what I'm getting. And I'm not looking to like label anybody, because especially since this is a general read, I'm not saying anybody's good, bad, or indifferent. But, you know, even good people can have toxic energy, and toxic is not good. That's why it's called toxic. So, if certain people around you maybe aren't bad people, but they're having some toxic behavior, or they just, they're draining you, it may be better for them if you just disengage. Because it's one of those feelings where I'm like, well, I don't want to leave them all by themselves, but you may not be helping them change or see a different way to do things by being the punching bag, which doesn't have to be physical. It could be emotional, or just something where they're constantly reinforcing that they're right and somebody else is wrong, or some people get into this victim behavior, which is very weird because it took me a minute to understand it. Take it objectively. It could be a situation where, yes, they have been the victim, but when you weaponize the victim behavior to where it just keeps you a victim, that becomes a problem, which is very complex, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand all the ins and outs of that. But like there becomes a point where they were a legitimate victim, but then it becomes their identity, and they just keep perpetuating it, and that's not helpful. It locks them into that energy, and that's not really where they want to be. And it's kind of like the more you play into it, the worse that gets, and sometimes stepping back and letting them figure out their own situation is what's necessary. Solitude is not considered a punishment all the time. Maybe it's considered something that people need so they can sort out their own feelings. So you might have to back off from somebody. You might have to like distance yourself. Also, if I cringe to say this, but it is true. Victims are not allowed to create new victims. It's true, but like, if you end up feeling victimized by somebody and they keep playing this victim card, that makes you a victim, and that's not okay either. So be aware of that as well. I feel like that's hard to say because it's like we don't want to leave somebody who's gone through something rough all on their own, but on the other hand, just because somebody's had bad things happen to them doesn't mean they're allowed to do bad things to other people, be it physical, verbal, or whatever it may be. It's just something to keep in mind. Because I feel like you can see the good parts of somebody. You can see the good parts of them. You can see what you want for them. But maybe that's the point. They have to want what they want. And what they have to do is what they have to do. It's the thing of not being victimized by somebody just because they're giving you a valid... There may be very valid things in their past that were rough. And it's not like we're trying to validate or invalidate that either way. It's just how things are affecting you and how things are coming at you, and not allowing somebody to treat you badly because of something like that. Like, I've seen that. People justify treating other people badly because they've had it rough. And it's like, yes, and you didn't deserve that, and we're not saying you did. But you don't deserve, but you as the Pisces don't, that doesn't mean people get to treat you badly because they've been treated badly. I just feel like we're touching on this because I feel like there's definitely energy around you where you can move away from this. And it's realizing that maybe it's time to move on from something and not feel bad about it. I feel like I'm saying this as a Pisces, raised by 2 Pisces, blah, 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 blah. It's hard to kind of walk away from people sometimes. Even like as Pisces, I feel like we can get used to being treated badly and think that that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, so I don't mean to speak for anybody. If you don't feel that way, then you don't feel that way. But like sometimes it gets normalized. Like, well, that's how it has to go. That is not how it has to go. It's moving on and moving on quickly when you realize that this isn't working and this is just dragging you down. It's time to move on. It's time to move closer to people who actually care and that you care about as well. Pisces can be a very great support system. For the right people, we can excel with them and we can help them excel. But for the wrong people, they can drag us down and they can just really cause a lot of damage that's very hard to correct sometimes. Your opportunity is coming very soon to get away from something. The trick is to not feel guilty about leaving something behind that you're no longer effective in the sense of like making it better. That can be a bitter pill to swallow too when you realize I'm not effective anymore. I know what I want. I'd love for this to get better for this person, but I'm no longer effective. And it's kind of like, you know, graciously stepping out and not trying to like find something. It's almost like if you're at a job and it's kind of like, I have to call out sick today. And if you've ever had a job, because I know I have, there's this like thing where, well, you can call out sick, but you got to find somebody else to take your place or you can't call out sick. And that's kind of like, well, no, that's not. That's a job you should leave, by the way, if you have that type of job. I'm just saying. Because, you know, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I got to manage myself and, okay, whatever. Anyway, it's kind of like if you've decided it's time to go because this is toxic, it's not your responsibility to find a replacement. And to, like, step away, take your leave, go, realize this is not good for you, you need to go, this is making you sick, you need to leave, and it's not your responsibility to find a replacement. And the two of these cards together, I'm getting like, yes, you need to go, and you need to leave it so that other people pick up their own problems. It's not your responsibility to find a replacement for whatever you were doing for this person. Which may sound harsh, but that might literally be the point. Maybe by you doing it that way, that would give them an opportunity for change that they normally wouldn't have. Can't guarantee that'll go well, but it still affords an opportunity that they have a chance. Maybe they have a better chance with that opportunity than not. Because I get things are going to change, whatever you're walking away from, if this reading is hitting. When you walk away from it, something else will take up, or that person will actually show their true colors, and maybe they didn't need you as much as it looked like they did. Which, sometimes people play that game. They make it look like you're more needed, so they can keep control and make you feel like you have to stay. But when you walk away, you notice, like, it's like somebody who, like, I can't get to the store without you, I don't have a car. I can't get to the store without you, I don't have a car. Then you, like, I can't do it anymore, and I'm just done. Cold turkey done, not taking the phone calls, not dealing with it, just not dealing with it. Then all of a sudden you find out, you know, either somebody else is giving them a ride, or maybe they had access to a car that you didn't know. Maybe they had one the whole time, and they were just keeping it hidden from you, and you're like, wow, they really could do that the whole time, I just didn't know it. Or maybe they had another mode of transportation. Maybe they could ride a bike and they had an access to a bike and they could do that the whole time, and they had other options. They just didn't want you to know, because as long as you didn't know, you would always pick up the pieces for them and do things for them. Things will work out for them, An opportunity is coming forward for them. And this is something where I feel like the other person needs to go through this devastation and find their own ways to figure out their own problems. It may sound harsh, I know that, but it's something where I feel like the opportunity you're giving this person is walking away because they need to hit this rock bottom. They don't get a chance to really do something different until they hit that rock bottom, and then they go through the process of making their next decision. The impartial makes me feel like, doesn't mean things are going to go good, but they could. Doesn't mean things are going to go bad, but they could. But it's giving them the opportunity to do so. That is an opportunity. You walking away from this is, if this reading is hitting, of course, very healthy for you. Because it's one of those things where it's now, you're healing from this, you're detaching from this, and you're doing better. The trick is to truly heal and not to repeat this pattern with somebody else, because I feel like Pisces do this. We like to help people, we like to look out for people. When we feel needed, we really do bend over backwards. I'm saying that as a Pisces, maybe I'm biased, so I'm sure I'll see it in the comments if I am. But we do try to help as much as possible, and sometimes we get kind of addicted to it. Also, for the thing with Pisces, I'm just going to add this in, and I'm not really sure how it fits in, but once we realize we're not really loved or cared for, we can detach pretty quickly and not look back. So, I don't know if that helps or if you're looking for that, but I'll just throw that information in there randomly in case that's of some use. Because the point is to realize that when people abuse you and use you, that's not love. That's convenience. That's manipulation. Manipulation is not love. It's just not. Like, I've heard people try to argue it. I'm not going to agree with it. Love is not manipulation. Love is not manipulation. I just don't believe it. I'm not going to go with it. People have tried to argue it before. I just do not agree. So, moving away from that, moving towards something where people don't manipulate you is good for you. Because I feel like this situation, if it's really hitting, there was a version of manipulation going on here. Moving away from that, seeing people for who they are, connecting to things to where you can be helpful, or connected to where people honor you, and there's always a give and take. People should be giving you, not just you giving to them. There should be a give and take. You give to them, they give to you. There needs to be some type of balance for things to be well. Whatever you might be walking away from, and walking away from it very quickly, just make sure you don't repeat it with somebody else. See the signs in the beginning, maybe be a little bit more critical of things than you have in the past. And I feel like you could do better, because I'm getting, not do better in like a negative way, but do better in like, okay, I walked away from that, I don't want to repeat it. And kind of like, okay, I'm feeling something, this seems familiar, I don't know if I like it. And then maybe being a little bit overcritical, and kind of like, why don't I like this? What is this mirroring from my past? And if I'm identifying, oh, that's what it's mirroring, and I left that, why did I leave that? Before this even happens in this situation, I'm not going to get involved like that. In fact, I'm going to do this a different way. Doesn't mean you can't be involved in the next situation. It's just not approaching a situation in the same way you've done in the past. So it's like, I want to give an analogy to this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I keep going towards baking because that's what I do. Well, I don't bake that often, but I like it. So it's kind of like if you're going to make cookies, instead of making the same old chocolate chip cookies, making some rum raisin, or making some, like, changing out those chocolate chips with cranberries, or craisins. Are they craisins? What are they? And maybe instead of using just a regular old chocolate chip recipe, maybe you're going to get an oatmeal recipe, and you're going to make some oatmeal craisin cookies just to be different. It's like saying, yeah, I still want cookies, yeah, I still want to enjoy them, but I'm not going to make the same old chocolate chip cookies I've made in the past. Those have not worked for me. They looked great, they tasted great, but they made me sick. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a different way to do it. Maybe instead of using sugar, I can use honey. Something like that. It's like, all right, I'm going to still be involved in some type of situation that's similar to this. I'm still going to deal with cookies, but maybe I can make a cookie that's more healthy for me, and maybe I won't have as much cookies. Maybe like I'll have some cookies, but you know, I'll give cookies and then they'll give me a ham sandwich, and we can balance it out that way. The way it was going before is I was just making chocolate chip cookies and giving chocolate chip cookies out left and right. We were just eating chocolate chip cookies, and because we were only eating chocolate chip cookies, we got sick. In the future, I'm going to make different cookies, more healthier versions, and I'm going to go with somebody who, like, they give me a ham sandwich, I give them oatmeal craisin cookies. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because I feel like I kind of rambled a little bit. You know what? I'm going to let it go there. It either made sense or it didn't. I'm just going to accept that. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.